Well, the province is helping more students learn about rewarding careers in the skilled trades by launching its annual LevelUp career fair. It's running across the province, and it all starts next week.
So joining us live now to talk about this is David Piccini, the Minister of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development. Minister, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We know that Good morning. We know that job fairs are great exposure, covering 12 cities here throughout the province. But how do you ensure that students leave by actually landing an apprenticeship or a job?
Well, I think LevelUp is designed to really tackle historically stigmas associated with the trade. There's been no government that has promoted the trades more than Premier Ford and our current government. And we've launched LevelUp career fairs, which are incredibly interactive opportunities for youth to get their hands and really try a skilled trade firsthand. And so we've got 29 across Ontario. We'll have over 50,000 youth that'll get to try their hand at a trade. And it's really exposing them to opportunities that are incredibly rewarding in the skilled trades. I mean, we know when you have a job in the trades, you've got a career for life. It's the lightest luggage you'll ever carry. You can travel across Canada. And at a time when we're expecting the major project list very soon from the Prime Minister, there's no better time than today to join the trades, especially when we know that 1 in 3 are retiring and, in the late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah, it seems like there's definitely some plentiful work available down the road, Minister. I'm curious, as the Minister of Labour for the province, how concerned you are about the raw numbers of youth unemployment in this province. CIBC released a report yesterday saying there were, crisis or sort of recession level, levels of unemployment here. How much does that concern you? And as much as this is a wonderful idea and program to develop skills, a lot of people need jobs right now, today.
Absolutely. And I mean, we've got to create the conditions for that. And that's what we've been focused on as a government. Look, there's no question that when you see things like temporary foreign worker jobs posted in certain professions that, you just scratch your head and wonder how that's happening. So we want to see a real look at that, a reduction in the number of temporary residents that are entering Canada. We want to see permits, approvals done faster. We want a nation build again. We're talking about pipelines. We're talking about major transit projects. We've got our Ontario line underway right now. We know there's a lot of work in the civil sector right now. And we know that when housing conditions improve, without question, interest rates, the stress test, things that the Premier's been championing for months now, we'll see a resurgence in the housing sector. And it's not about scratching our head and wondering how we get people trained then. It's about getting them real skills now. And without question, the youth unemployment is the greatest concern facing us right now as a nation, one of the biggest concerns for me as a Labour Minister. So we're working on getting them real skills to develop a resilient workforce and to give them meaningful career opportunities. And we know in the trades, they're incredibly rewarding careers.
Yeah, so we know that there is a skilled trades labor shortage right now, yet youth unemployment remains high. I'm curious to know why you think those two aren't kind of working together to cancel each other out and help the problem. Is it because there is this skills gap, and how do you plan to address that?
Well, I think without question, we for a long time have been told that, there's only one path, and that's through either university, college, etc. And we as a government have tackled that stigma and have said you can go to a community college and get a rewarding career in the trades. You can join a union training hall, get a rewarding career in the trades. And we need these skill sets. AI is not going to affect your plumber, your pipe fitter, your steam fitter. We need these people. We have a new nuclear commitment. We're one of the few countries on planet Earth that are thinking ambitiously to build new nuclear. Well, it's going to take a lot of carpenters. It's going to take a lot of steam fitters, pipe fitters, a tremendous amount of laborers to get that done. We're talking about expanding public transit and actually doing it with 413 and the Bradford bypass. We need talent pipeline to get that job done. So without question, it's about exposing youth, and that's why we launched LevelUp. And what we hear from educators, what we hear from the majority of educators, in fact, 99% surveyed found this to be a positive experience for youth. And what we're doing this year is launching an open house session as well, which brings parents in the evenings and brings parents, grandparents, because we know it's not just about exposing youth. It's about letting their parents and grandparents know about the remarkable opportunities in the skilled trades as well.
Yeah. An understanding, indeed. Minister Piccini, really quickly, Pierre Poilievre this week said he wants to scrap the entire, temporary foreign worker plan. Is that something you or your government is in line with? You mentioned that in your initial answer to me about temporary foreign workers. Would you like to see that down to zero in this province?
Well, without question, the federal government has to take a good long look at the temporary foreign worker program. I've in my own community have seen groups like Subway and Campbellford launch a LMIA for a temporary foreign worker for a job that paid into the 30s, and any youth in our community would be screaming for. So I think they need to take a good long look at that. We as a province have called on the federal government to reduce the number of temporary residents entering Canada. We've got to have an immigration system with integrity. The grandson of an immigrant that came here worked in the steel sector, and we've got to have that system with integrity. And right now, we just don't have the housing capacity, the education capacity, and the healthcare capacity to have the number of temporary residents where they're at today. And so we've called for a further reduction, and without question, a component of that has to be the temporary foreign worker program.
Okay. Minister of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development, David Piccini, thank you so much for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Minister.